Talmor, Shishin Magachi. Talmor is my home. My family have worked the land for generations. My gran says the island does not belong to us, but we belong to the island. And we must be ready, for a great evil is coming, and death follows with it.
Listen and subscribe to the latest season of Undertow, The Harrowing, a Storyglass production presented by Realm, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone. So we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural Then and Now.
Hey, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the intro. Listen, I'm up here to tell you that when the curtain comes up momentarily, what will flow into your ears is a radiant beam of pod, and it's our very first digital live taping. We taped this episode live with 500 of you hanging out on Zoom.
So cool.
So the energy will go up from here, if you can believe it. I play some live jingles to varying degrees of success, and and you'll also hear us chatting with the audience here and there, and responding to listener comments as we go, which is very fun.
It is.
It's not usually a part of the pod.
Right. There's a small silver lining in not being able to gather physically with you in large spaces, which is that, like, if you're all sitting in a room together, it's very hard to address the comments. In a controlled digital environment, we were able to have a little bit of chatting. And I think that, like, on future live digital events, we'll be able to do that even more as we grease the proverbial digital event wheels over here in Buffering the Vampire Slayer.
Okay.
I said it, and I know that you want to jump right from greasing wheels to the Sexual Tension Award winners, but I want to say a couple more things before we get there, Jenny. First of all of the ticket sales from this event that you're about to listen to, because we taped this a while ago. We taped this all the way back in June. And so all of the ticket sales at that time went to support a couple of the anti-racist initiatives that we've started here at Buffering, which you've heard about if you've been listening to the last few episodes. The ticket proceeds went to support our work with Mackenzie McDade, who has facilitated, as of this taping, one of two reading and discussion groups. We're talking about Ijeoma Oluwa's So You Want to Talk About Race with a pretty large group of you. We've got about 300 of you signed up for that. So that was an amazing thing that some of the profits from this went to support that work. And then also a large portion of the profits went to the creation of the episode that we did with Ira Madison, Alana Bennett, and LaToya Ferguson, where they did a deep dive into race in the Buffy and Angelverse. So that's all pretty fucking awesome. And also, to be fully transparent, Jenny, and I know you and I have talked about this before, but we taped this in June, and even from June to the end of July, the work that we've done, some of the reading we've done, and especially listening to the episode with Ira, LaToya, and Alana, I think we would have spent a bit more time, or at least touched upon the fact that Dante, a character you'll hear us talk about because Dante is one of the lead generals of the Knights here in the battle. We refer to it as the Battle of Chevron, the battle that happens at the gas station. And we didn't talk about Dante being a black man, being played by a black actor. And I think that in that episode with LaToya and Alana and Ira, they touched on the fact that so many POC characters in the Buffyverse are there to sort of check a box. And we didn't say that in this taping. And I think, that's just sort of a testament to the fact that the work is going to be ongoing and that we're going to be bringing more things into the fold. So we're saying it up here and wish we had been able to say it in there. And if you somehow have not listened to that episode with LaToya, Alana, and Ira, oh my gosh, please do. It is just full of such important conversation and also a million fucking jokes. It is a great time, all and all. Anyhow, Jenny, now you may get to the greasing of wheels and other items.
May I? Well, then. Fantastic. The results are in. The votes have been tallied. And here's what we can tell you about last episode's Sexual Tension Awards. We have in fourth place, and 12% of the vote, we've got Glory and Mimosas with a criminal 15% of the vote in third place. Disgusting. We have Anya and Willow. How could you? Although I guess Anya is really looking her worst in this episode in terms of xenophobia, so I guess I can accept it. But the fact that you could have it, well, okay. And then here we go. At the top of the pile, we've got a very close neck, almost neck and neck finishing, right? We've got hard campaigner Kristin Russo and Giles coming in at second place with 36% of the vote. And Glory and Willow coming in first place with 37% of the vote. Congratulations to Glory and Willow with this sweeping victory.
A sweeping is an overstatement. I want you to know.
As No Fear t-shirts once told me in junior high, second place is the first loser. Also, I'll point out that at one point in time, our age difference was that I was 36 and you were 37, and I was definitely younger than you. So they're definitely different numbers.
It's just a fantastic monologue, Jennifer Owen Youngs. Thank you so much for your support. I just want to let everybody know that I did sway the vote. So fine, I did, right? I campaigned for myself, and, Glory and Willow, to our knowledge, don't have a Twitter, so they couldn't campaign for themselves. But I do want to say that I did the math, the hell math, if you will. There were 876 of you who voted, which means that 315 of you voted for me and Giles, and 324 of you voted for Glory and Willow. So it was just a difference of 9 people, Jenny. I was so close.
You were so close, and our hearts go out to you today upon the revelation of this terrible loss.
All right.
So sorry.
Congratulations, Glory and Willow. The day that I learned how to rip a dress off of my body while a powerful witch is coming at me with lightning bolts, I too will win an award. You know that we've been doing some spotlighting up here in the intro as well. Last week we talked about Métis in Space, brilliant podcast that we're hoping that you checked out. And this week I actually am spotlighting a video that came up in the reading and discussion group with Mac. So we're building out a library on our website. You can find it at bufferingthevampireslayer.com/anti-racist -library. It's also in the top bar. You can link there, and we tweet about it often. So there's a little building of the resources that Mackenzie is bringing our way and the work that we're doing with her. And one of the things that she brought to our attention last week was this video that is YABA, BLAY, TARANA, BURKE, GLENNON DOYLE, and Abby Wambach in conversation. And I'm not even going to tell you too much about it because you just need to go. All 4 of them on their Instagram when they posted the video, all 4 captions were just, watch it. Watch this. And I agree so wholeheartedly. A small snippet of what you can expect is that Abby and Glennon passed the mic, so to speak, in their Instagram spaces to YABA, who is a Black woman. And she saw an influx of white listeners into her Instagram, into her space. And some very unfortunate things happened leading to this conversation where we have 4 people in conversation about some of the harms that happened, some of the ways they want to correct that. And it's very powerful from all angles. So I would highly encourage, and if you don't know any of those 4 humans, you should check them out because they're all doing various forms of brilliant work. So that is the spotlight this week. Again, you can find it in Mac's Corner on the Anti-Racist Library page. And hey, Jenny, we have some events coming up, don't we?
We sure do. and they are, on Saturday, August 8th, Kristin and I will be engaging in a live watch of an episode of Angel with the Angel on Top Patreon patron supporter people. If you are a supporter of the Angel on Top Patreon, we will be doing a live watch with you.
You should tell them that it's of the episode of Angel called 5x5. Wonder who's in it. Cool.
I wonder who could be in that episode.
Who could be?
And also, as if that were not enough of upcoming events, we're also on Saturday, August 15th, going to be doing a buffering Zoom hang for buffering patrons at the $10 level. So we're freaking all over the place this month. We're here.
We can't get off the internet. We just can't.
We can't get off the internet.
Okay, so also last thing I'll tell you about our Patreon space is that I am back this week with Joanna Robinson on Feels Like the First Time, our Patreon podcast. We are going to be tackling, Jenny, the Terminator series. We'll be watching 3 of the Terminator movies. And if you don't know what that's all about, I watch movies that I have never seen before. This is a little bit bendy because I do believe I've seen Terminator 2, but I have no idea what it's about except for biceps. And so, yeah, you can hop on over there for that too. And we've been reading emails up in the intro too. So, Jenny, I have a short email for you today coming in from Sherry, who gave us a little insight into that odd number conversation that we had in last week's episode. So Sherry wrote in and said, yes, hello, I'm of Southeast Asian, East Indian origin, and my mother told me that odd numbers are lucky/important because they are, quote, incomplete. And therefore, life/the event is not complete or finished. Life continues and there is more to come. And then Sherry continued, very similar to the coffee bean explanation given by you.
I was gonna say! Amazing. Incredible. Thank you for agreeing with me and also for this wonderful information.
Yeah, so thank you, Sherry. And you can email us with your thoughts and feelings at bufferingthevampireslayer@gmail.com. And now we're going to shut up so that we can start talking again. But this time about an episode of Buffy.
Whee! Welcome to Buffering the Vampire Slayer, a podcast where we are watching and discussing every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer one by one, spoiler free. I am your host, Jenny Owen Youngs.
Oh, that was very sweet. I thought you were going to say panelist instead of host. And I am your Kristin Russo. This week, we are talking about Season 5, Episode 20, Spiral. Stay tuned at the end of this podcast every other week, sometimes every week. Who knows what time is anymore? For an original song written by Jenny Owen Youngs, recapping the Buffy episode we are discussing.
Spiral was written by Stephen S. DeKnight and directed by James A. Contner. It originally aired on May 8th. In the year 2001.
What a year. This is the one, according to IMDb, where realizing they may never be able to vanquish glory, Buffy and the gang decide to flee Sunnydale, not to Sunnydale, in Spike's RV, which I call a Winnebago. Do you know the difference between an RV and a Winnebago?
I think a Winnebago is a brand and an RV is a type.
It's like the Kleenex of tissue. Yep, got you.
I think so.
Anyhow, they decide to flee Sunnydale in Spike's RV to protect Dawn. It's the one with the Winnebago.
And the crusade.
It's the one with the knights. Can I start us off with an email that came through like moments before we went live, Jenny?
By all means.
Okay, so our listener, Ruth, who I believe is watching right now from the UK, wrote a limerick. You know how we love a limerick. We'll have to make sure to pass this along to Kate. And the limerick about this episode goes, The Byzantium Order of Knights have inserted themselves in this fight, but why are they here in their medieval gear? They just don't make sense, am I right?
Rude.
That's so good!
Hell yeah.
Oh, God, okay. Thank you. Right? Bravo, Ruth. Just right under the
12 out of
wire,
10.
too. Got right on in there. So, yeah. Wow, here we are. There's only 2 episodes after this one, and shit is getting fucking bananas, huh?
It's getting bananas. Let me ask you something, Kristin. You know, picture this. You're a hell god.
Okay.
You look great.
Got it.
You have a lot of like might, but you never know when you're going to transform into a human male and like cease to be active. Right? Would you be wasting time ripping walls off of buildings and like busting through walls? It's got to take more time and energy to bust a hole through a wall than to go like 2 feet over and go through the doorway. Am I right? Am I right?
You are correct, Jenny, and I have a very similar note about a few of the choices that are made in the beginning scene, right? So, whatever. First of all, the previous... Yes? Sorry? Would you like to continue?
There's just... The next... No. You'll get there. I'm sure your next note is this thing.
Oh, yeah. I think it is, too. The previously on, we skipped it. The previous one is basically like one sentence from every episode. Dawn is the key. Glory is the god. Dawn knows she's the key. And on and on. We come back in, and Glory, notably, and I'm sure that when we record our episode on Tough Love, we're going to talk about the fact that Glory, who has been notably in red this whole time, has suddenly decided to cover up some red with some pink. Just like fucking going for that color combo.
Sure.
And like you said, when I was texting with Jenny about this episode, and I was like, this episode is bizarre to me because it's like, it's a really brilliant episode. It's great. Some very important stuff happens in this episode, but also there are a handful of times, maybe more than a handful, where I feel like I'm watching a home movie I made. Like somebody was like, Kristin, make an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I'm like, okay, I got it. So this sort of chase is one of them because Buffy, so first of all, Buffy picks Dawn up. I'm going to get to...
Dude,
yeah.
Okay.
I was just going to say, when she leaves the room, they don't get up and leave together. She picks Dawn up and throws her body through the door behind her. Like, literally just like crashes through the door. You could have just opened the door. It definitely does not save time to throw yourself through the door. Then what you were talking about, Jenny, right? Claire Kramer.
They run. They run about 20 yards, and then Dawn, in true Bella Swan fashion, just hits the deck and is like, I can't. I'm too clumsy to run or something. So Buffy's like, okay, sister who's a foot taller than me,
says, yeah.
I'll just pick you up and run with you, and somehow this is a better solution. What?
And then, like, if somebody could make me, like, a supercut of just, all I want is the snake, it's a great big snake, being punched, the rubber snake, and I want it to go back and forth between that and the Dawn dummy that Sarah Michelle Gellar is running with.
Wow, I didn't even see a dummy. I gotta go back.
There's definitely a few clips with the dummy. Okay, I'm sorry. But yeah, there's just some choices in this episode. But Willow, let's take a minute for Willow, right? Because I know that we will have talked about this in Tough Love, but Willow's power at this point is strong enough for her to seriously impede a hell god.
Yeah, this is heavy.
Right? We have gotten, I think this episode is the third in the series where we get the like full black eyes of Willow as she's casting magic.
Do you think that she's gotten any stronger by virtue of now dressing like she just got back from Lowe's? She's wearing a like sort of like bestudded Western style flannel shirt over a green turtleneck and some like camel cords.
Wow.
Have you ever in your life, like, where's her tool belt? She looks awesome.
Well, later
she
in the episode,
tough.
Spike does, in fact, compare her to a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
Okay, so Glory busts through the wall. the campus kids are having a fucking blast, man. They're like, just another day at Sunnydale campus. Like, first this girl carries this other girl, then this lady just kind of like hologram runs, like disappearing, half appearing. Like, I've never seen Glory do that before. And then she gets hit by a truck.
And looks great doing it.
She does. She really does.
And this is what I'm talking about. Like, I'm wondering if there's a correlation between how strong or good Glory is feeling to like when Ben takes over her, like their shared form.
Are
right?
you
because
saying
as soon as she...
is there like a
but there's just something
like
about them. I feel like
they seem like sometimes they're...
Are they roommates?
I don't know.
They were roommates.
Maybe they're roommates. They have like... They definitely shop in the same places. They wear a lot of similar clothes. So,
yeah. As soon as she hits that windshield, man, she's like, oh no, not now, you idiot. And then Ben... is there all of a sudden. One thing I'm wondering, since she calls him you idiot, is does she know what Ben looks like? Does she know anything about him?
Well,
you know, this is something I was wondering this episode.
You know, Jenny, so I asked Jenny before we did this Zoom taping if she felt comfortable inserting some of the jingles live in real time. And so I just feel like I'm struggling to understand what you're saying. Like, you're saying that there was a Glory got hit by a truck, and then you're saying there was a Ben. And so I just wonder.
So what I'm saying, there's no way for me to tilt this down, but I told Kristin I found a way to play this jingle live, but I have to set up two things and run and bump up the tempo.
Super streamlined.
Yeah, and then I gotta move this my computer keyboard so I can play.
Oh my God, Jenny.
Yeah, and then it's like, Ben is... Ben is Glory, Glory is Ben, Ben is Glory, and Glory is Ben. In case you forget, I'll say it again. Ben is Glory, and Glory is Ben.
Oh, wow. The beat really was ready to drop right there. Can you make like an extended version?
Yeah, the club mix, of course.
Yeah, I would really like a club mix.
Yeah, no problem.
And then, the credits. The credits happen and we come back and Dawn's like, you know, Glory does have nice feet. She's explaining.
Dude,
yes.
This, we didn't include it in the Sexual Tension Awards, but does Dawn have a crush on Glory?
It's true. It's not one of the nominees. But yeah, I mean, I think that what it is with Dawn and Glory is that, you know, Dawn looks up to Buffy as much as, you know, she's like, oh, you're my big sister and screw you. You know, as any little sister will probably attest to, usually there's a bit of like, you look up to them, you know, when you were really little, they were not so little and they seemed cooler and whatever. And I think that Dawn sees Buffy's like kinship and feeling threatened by Glory. And so there's like a little bit of that happening. I think that like, obviously she hates Glory. Glory's like out to who knows what with her, put her in a door and turn her around. I don't know how the key is activated. I haven't gotten the instructions yet. I don't know exactly what the process is, but I think it's more of that. But Dawn is really sweet. She's like really trying to talk Buffy up. She's very much in camp, like, we've all been through a lot and we just lost our mom and, you know, Buffy needs a bit of a lift. And this is not the last time in the episode that she's going to try to pick her big sister up, which is funny because her big sister just carried her and ran with her. Anyway.
While they're getting this information and then it's sort of like coming to the fore that they're like, we need another plan. Like, I don't know why that truck slowed her down so much, but it shouldn't have. And like, we really need to, like, every time I come up against this hell god, I'm toast. And Anya has a great idea. Anya's been studying. Why don't we drop a piano on her? That's a pretty good idea.
If anyone could give me Anya's syllabus for like American studies, you know, like she is like, okay, Looney Tunes. Like, I don't know what she watches that later cues her to the fact that little kids, when they're on long trips, say, "Are we there yet?" Like did she watch a bunch of commercials? Like, where's she pulling that from?
Right.
But yeah, Anya is really here for comic relief in this episode. She's just like knocking the jokes right out of the park one after another and keeping us
loving to see that she's like watching Looney Tunes like a horror program where there's a bunny who's like the central figure of a lot of narratives, and it is really hard for her.
I know, that went right over my head. How did it? I was like, why did she call the bunny evil? Like, what am I doing? I don't know where I was, but thank you for clarifying, Jenny.
Sure.
Giles is like, yeah, perhaps we should paint a tunnel on the side of a building.
And then Buffy says, okay, we've got to run. She's like, nobody goes home and nobody tells anybody that we're leaving, as if any of these people have friends outside of this room.
I know. I literally went down the list and was like, so maybe Willow's mom. Maybe. Maybe after like weeks.
Dawn's friend from the bathroom.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Or what's her boyfriend's name? Mark?
That guy.
Steve? Chad?
Jake. Jeff.
Anyway.
Did you already say Mike? Okay.
There's some great like big bad references real quick in succession. We get a rocket launcher reference, which is referencing the judge, and then right after that we get a uranium core reference, which is of course referencing our favorite villain of all time, Adam.
Oh, be still my heart, Adam. Hot.
Put that floppy disk in me, you know what I mean? I don't like. I'm like not looking at the chat except for when I know I made everybody upset, and then I like to watch the horror.
Unsubscribe.
So the seriousness of this, though, is that her plan is they need to run away. And that is like, and it'll come up later. We'll talk about it later, but that is pretty massive for her because her entire character is designed around not running away. But she knows that they can't beat Glory. And she knows that Glory is just going to pick one by one through them until she gets what she's after, which is Dawn. So would you like to meet a girl minion?
I would.
Her name is Gronks.
What? Yeah, and you know what Gronks likes? Worshipping Glory, genuflecting, making herself prostrate, and Ben's general look.
Yeah, she's like, I like Ben in a dress. I like Ben in scrubs. I like Ben in nothing. I like Ben. Ben is handsome.
Speaking of Ben in a dress, before we talk about the content of this exchange, can we just deal with how this sweater is just hanging off of his broad shoulders and draping and sweeping?
Do you know what my favorite part of Gronks is? Gronks?
What?
She calls what has happened to Glory's dress a sartorial tragedy, which is stunning. If I have a band, I'm going to call it sartorial tragedy. I wish
What is the word sartorial?
I looked it up. It is related to sewing, mending, stitching. So it is a sewing related tragedy. I used to have this pair of jeans in the 90s, which would be so cool again. And they were more whole than jean, there was just a teeny bit of denim scattered about my body. And I had to go to church every Sunday with my parents, and so you can imagine it's the 90s. I'm a teen. I have to go to church. What am I gonna fucking wear? I'm gonna wear the fucking holy jeans, make jokes about how they're holy. But I just wish so badly that when my mom had been like, are you gonna wear those jeans, I could have been like, I know they're a sartorial tragedy, Mom, but yeah, I'm wearing these fucking jeans. Okay, so we're getting a lot of backstory. It's basically this episode exists for many reasons, and one of them is to kind of fill in a lot of the holes that we have not yet filled in.
Add up the amount of time that Charlie Weber spends staring off into the middle distance, saying stuff that we have suspected but don't totally 100% know yet, and asking existential
right.
Do I even exist? Is this body even mine?
What's incredible is that all the answers we get have really just left me with more questions. I'm gonna be real with you. I've left with more questions than I.
They have this whole conversation where Gronks is like, could you do it? Could you kill the key to whatever? And it's the key is energy. If they kill Dawn,
Then what?
Why would that mean that the energy ceases to exist?
Also, I'm sorry, but I'm still stuck on the fucking monks. They had this fucking key. The key, when you fucking turn the thing, when you activate it, it just puts the whole universe, all of the universe, is into darkness, complete chaos. It's just this dinky little key that they can destroy, but they're like, no. I got one better. Let's make it an innocent girl. And then the only way to destroy it is to also kill a human. Like, why didn't they just destroy the... I know that they say like they wanted to use it for the forces of light. What forces? What forces? I'm confused.
It is confusing.
And we'll get to more because I have a lot of other questions. But
I have one very serious question.
Do you want
for later?
Okay, you want to save it? Okay.
No. It'll come. Sorry.
Ben's like yammering on about like he became a doctor because he wants to be close to the human experience. I feel like if you really cared about people, Ben, you would know that every once in a while, completely unpredictably, you turn into a hell god. So like perhaps being a fucking doctor isn't the best choice.
Not going to balance the... Yeah.
Maybe work at the Gap.
Also, how does he even know if it happened when he was a newborn male? Like, how has he come to understand that
And what was it like for his parents?
Okay, I can't wait any longer. Later, Gunther, I think? Gregor says that Glory had to share her body with a human newborn male. So are you telling me that every once in a while... this little Gerber baby in a crib would suddenly transform into a bombshell adult woman?
And like, was she wearing the onesie that the baby was wearing when that transformation happened? What happened?
We deserve answers.
Well, like, mom's like giving baby Ben a bottle and then all of a sudden she's holding a hell god. Like, what? I have a lot of questions. But we'll get
more questions.
We'll get
and answers, as you say.
So we go to outside where everyone is sort of like waiting by the bus stop, which they don't know what they're waiting for. And why they've chosen to wait outside is beyond me. I thought that they were supposed to be like hiding or whatever, but they're all waiting outside. And this is the first of two references that Xander makes to Sergeant Rock. Jenny, are you familiar with Sergeant Rock?
I know he's like a comic book character who appears to be a sergeant. An army sergeant. I looked up a picture of him. He had a helmet and a big jaw.
Wow.
Probably smoked cigars or something. I don't know.
Incredible research. Good job.
Thank you. I mean, educate me.
Well, I didn't do a hugely deep dive, but what I did read, what I found interesting was that what I learned about Sergeant Rock, a comic book character from, I think, the 60s and 70s, is that he's a comic book hero that seems to have no superpowers, really. Apparently, there were two people who wrote Sergeant Rock, and one of them kind of bent that a little bit with like a little bit of superhumanness, but for the most part he seems to be a character that doesn't have any superhuman strengths, has like a fairly big heart, like really cares, like if like kids are ever involved or whatever, like the marker of a heart, of course, is if you care about children. Don't get me started.
So he's more of a caped crusader / possibly vigilante kind of thing.
Well, it's more military based, but really the point that I'm getting at is he's more, he seems to be a character that Xander would align with, right? Like this dude who's helping, but he doesn't have any special powers because that's what Xander's whole deal is. So,
except some like memory of military structure.
Yeah.
Sure.
which is either here or not, and we never know. So to the listener at home, Jenny's Zoom background is currently Angel and Riley standing off. How does that song go? My boyfriend and my
boyfriend and my ex.
My boyfriend and
I'm
my
just
ex.
smack in the middle.
And Jenny's head is...
It's a Jenny's sandwich on one slice of butterscotch and one slice of blood bread.
Okay, blood bread. Good, great. Anyway, honk, honk. The Winnebago pulls up.
Questions. How is it possible that Spike can A, see enough through one slit cut in the aluminum foil through those goggles to be able to drive, and B, there's just light coming in to the truck? Like, doesn't make sense.
I mean, I think that the way they want us to intake the metaphysics here is that there's one small slot cut in the foil, and the only light that's going to hit Spike from that slot is directly on his 2 eyeballs, which are thereby protected by the goggles.
I mean, okay, I guess.
It's just, I mean, I'm here for it because do you want to know something? Spike did not have to be the one driving the Winnebago. Buffy could have done it. So, like, I'm here for this bending of light situation because it wasn't a forced choice. They simply made it for Spike to get to be like, nah, 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 which,
yeah,
it's so good.
And he is great and it's hilarious. And everyone, dude, Giles and Xander butting in to be like, "Oh, get out! Are you sure, Buffy? This is a terrible idea. Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up and sit down! Sit down, gentlemen." The patriarchy.
Yes, and Buffy, to her credit, is like, shut the fuck up. This is not a fucking discussion. He stays. And Spike is like, for the listener at home, I am putting my thumb on my nose and wiggling my fingers. So this is not one of our Sexual Attention Award nominees, I will tell you. But I would like to self-nominate myself for write-in votes because Spike is like sitting in the seat and he goes, "Buckle up, kids. Daddy's putting the hammer down." And I would like to write in nominate myself and Spike, I would say, Kristin plus Daddy putting the hammer down as a write-in vote. It's not one of our official 4, but I'm there for it. So continue on. Let's make our way to the hospital, shall we? Oh, somebody called for the Spike jingle. I can do that for you.
Do it.
Spike, I love you. Spike, so dreamy. Spike, your trench coat. Spike, I love you. Spike, your blackmail. Spike, peroxide.
Thank you for requesting that. So we're at the hospital. The Knights of Byzantium are there to get Orlando out. Not sure. This is a big question. I understand they want to avenge Orlando. I don't know they need to bring Orlando to the war, to the battle, to avenge him.
Is there anything more conspicuous than a couple of men with very low pulled baseball caps and like Renaissance era handwriting? Like,
thank you.
Calligraphic signatures.
Dante's handwriting is the most new Sexual Attention Award nominee for me and something. It's me and fucking Dante's handwriting. It's so beautiful.
It's real good.
It's so good.
Real good.
Dante is played by an actor named Kareem Prince, who you may or may not know played the Blue Alien Ranger on the Power Rangers. I was like doing it because I used to be a Power Rangers fan. I watched the Power Rangers.
Oh.
But like I did not know how to fan is what I've kind of realized in doing my dig on the Blue Alien Ranger, because it was like there's like all these universes, there's Alien Rangers and there's this aquatic situation. There's like a whole, and I don't remember any of that. I just remember like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers kicking things. So thank you. Yeah. I just want to thank the listenership for really helping me advance the way that I intake media and sci-fi, fantasy, etc. Oh, before we leave the hospital, Jenny, I just would like to inquire upon what the plan was here if something did happen. First of all, why would something happen? Why would the nurses don't know about the Knights of Byzantium? And second of all,
pulling the dagger out of his sleeve.
He's got a dagger in his sleeve. He's going to kill the nurse.
What the fuck?
Like, what is happening?
Gentlemen, they're like, oh, we're so honorable that we'll kill anybody who gets in the way of our honor. Yeah.
Oh.
So they venture out into the Sunnydale Wood where their general is keeping the full cast of 10 separate medieval times locations stashed with horses. How are these dudes flying under the fucking radar?
It is Sunnydale.
How?
Do you think that they have access to another dimension?
Maybe the horse dimension, the horse and chainmail dimension,
the Renaissance Fair dimension, just like, it just feels like, I don't know. But anyway, Orlando is there. And I guess the reason they took Orlando out of the hospital was so that he could tell general forehead that the key is a shiny, pretty girl. And so then General Forehead is like, advance! And from all corners of Sunnydale, the cavalry rides forth to the Battle of Chevron, is what I'm going to call it. The Battle of... Is that a good gas station? I mean... A spoiler, no gas stations are good, but that one sounds nice. The Battle of Chevron. Okay, so back to the Winnebago.
I would pay good money to not have to watch Xander or anyone be motion sick. No, thanks.
He does Nicholas Brendan is very effective at his conveying motion sickness. You feel sick watching him. Mm-hmm. It's pretty rough. But it does give us the 5 millionth time that Anya talks about shrimp, this time in reference to Xander. He doesn't travel well. He's like, fine shrimp, which is like hilarious on its own, but then doubles down on its hilarity when Spike has picked up this bit and uses shrimp as a dig on Xander. Literally, like under his breath, he's like, shrimp. It's great. I can't wait till the two of them talk over a cigarette later. It's probably my favorite scene in the whole episode.
Spike's complaining about Giles driving. Xander and Giles are yapping some more about Buffy's decision-making abilities. Fuck you very much.
Yeah, fuck you very much is correct. So Tara's ogling Dawn. Anya's like, yo, here's some fucking snacks. And somewhere in her American journey, she has figured out that Spam is what you bring in a Winnebago. Which, like...
Oh, yeah.
Sure, that checks out. And good thing she brought that pan. Just, spoiler alert for later.
Yeah, no particular reason, just good thing.
Tara opens the blinds, and this is, there's a lot happening in like the individual episode, but also like in the season arc. We're really picking up on a lot of complicated things happening in Land of Spike. And this is one of those moments where like Spike is so incredibly loving and gentle toward the situation, is so understanding of the situation, is like sizzling and is like, oh, skin's already healing. Like, it's okay. I understand. Not that like you would expect Spike to like lose his shit, but I feel like they really go out of their way to show us the love and care that he has for Tara and for Willow, who is the primary caretaker of Tara at this point, which is really, really sweet and also confusing. Just going to get more and more confused about Spike for some time. So they close the blinds and Tara's like, it's all dark. And you sort of think, she's just talking about the blinds are closed. But then you cut to the hospital and you see that all of the patients there, everyone who has had their brain sucked by glory, is saying the same thing. All dark, all dark. And so you're picking up on this fact that they're uniting in their experience, I guess, because... Do we know why? Is it because Glory knows who the key is and she's getting closer to the key? What's the reason?
I don't know, but like elsewhere, Gronks is like tossing the bones and reading them and is like, oh, the moment is upon us. We just have to squeeze it until it bleeds. And then another minion who we may or may not be seeing for the first time is just like doing that.
Yeah, that's his it's the only time you see him in the whole episode.
It feels like, was this a longer scene and did they cut it? Like, what was the intention here? It feels a little incomplete.
Yeah.
Support for today's episode comes from OneSkin. And if you have sensitive skin, you're going to want to hear about their scientifically proven topical supplements. Free from over 1,500 chemicals and preservatives that can make skin red, irritated, or itchy, their products are safe for sensitive skin. It's just one of the reasons they've earned the skin-safe seal of approval.
They've also earned the Jenny Owen Youngs and Kristin Russo seal of approval, if I do say so myself, Jenny.
I couldn't agree more. I've been using OneSkin for a few months, and after a few weeks, I remember it like it was yesterday. I texted Kristin, and I was like, maybe she's born with it. I looked in the mirror that morning and was like, oh, things are happening, and I am happy.
I have used a million billion skin products, and I did not think that I was going to switch off of the skin lotion, the moisturizer that I used, and the under eye cream that I use, because I have used them for a little while and I really like them. And I've switched completely, which is a pretty big deal. OneSkin is the world's first Skin Longevity Company. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. Get started today with 15% off using code BUFFERING at oneskin.co. That's 15% off at oneskin.co with code BUFFERING. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, and if you can, please tell them that we sent you.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone, so we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural Then and Now.
So we get this scene in the back of the Winnebago in like what would be the bedroom, and it's sort of like what Buffy has made her like HQ. You know, she's like back there with her notes, just trying to like take a deep breath and figure out what the fuck is happening and why she's run away and, you know, what that means. And Dawn comes back and at first is just trying to make jokes about Anya cooking. And, you know, then she says thanks. And Buffy's like, for what? Running away. And she's like, no, you know, pretty much everything. And it's Michelle Trachtenberg, I think, does she has a really incredible episode overall, but this scene in particular is really beautiful. And her and Buffy have this conversation, you know, where Buffy is just like, I'm not supposed to run away. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And the line that gets me, and I'm sure you and all of us, is when Buffy, she just looks so defeated and she says it just keeps coming. Glory, Riley, Tara, Mom. And you know, I mean, she gives a voice to sort of what we've been talking about over the last handful of episodes, but puts it in her own very clear terms, which is like every time she stands up, something else happens. And it's gutting. It's just gutting because, you know, we've talked about like, what is the lifespan of a slayer? Like, how much can any slayer possibly endure before wanting to just give up? And that's what we're seeing from her and sort of the journey that will go on for the balance of the episode. And then, you know, then there's also like the humor of the moment, sort of, where Dawn's like, well, at least it can't get any weirder. And then a fucking arrow goes through the back of the Winnebago and Buffy just looks at Dawn like, for fucking fuck's sake, man.
If we can't give the Knights of Byzantium credit for anything else, we can at least credit them for perhaps the show's only understandable or justifiable use of crossbows. This is an appropriate time to use crossbows. If you are in a legion of soldiers mounted on horseback, riding up next to the enemy's Winnebago, that's a great time to use your crossbow. Absolutely. Fuck yes. Thank you, Knights of Byzantium.
Yeah. I'm going to call, I had this thought earlier when I was reading through my notes that maybe I'll refer to the Knights of Byzantium as the Murder Hornets from now on, because I feel like, you know, like in the beginning of the pandemic when we were all like, wow, pandemic and like this and that and whatever. And then like all of a sudden there are these news reports about fucking murder hornets. And we were like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Murder fucking hornets, you know? So and that's how I feel like she feels about the Knights of Byzantium. Just like, not now. We have 5 other apocalypses happening. We don't need you. Anyway, Giles is like looking in the rearview mirror, trying to fucking use this Winnebago to hit the horses. This is where things start to turn for old Kristin Nolene. Because Willow doesn't want the horses to get hit. I don't want the horses to get hit. Buffy's like, hit the fucking horses.
Aim for the horses.
Right before killing a man. The fuck? Anyway, we're not there yet.
If they belong to an ancient order bent on killing her sister, the rules are suspended.
But like,
I guess.
And also like she is being violently attacked, but still like where I just feel like the lines are a bit confusingly drawn. Okay, so sword comes through. Many arrows are like poking through. Dawn is told to stay under the fucking table, which she doesn't. So that's a whole thing.
Wait. What swordsman is like, you know what I'll do? I can see, judging by like my own understanding of spatial reasoning, that even if someone's standing up inside of this, the likelihood that I would hit them is low unless they're very tall. But I'll just poke holes in the roof of this Winnebago, dull my sword by punching it through metal. Really poor strategy.
Dull my sword.
And then fucking Spike just grabs it, and that's what this guy deserves. He deserves to get his sword grabbed.
He does deserve
for being such a dumbass.
He does deserve to get his sword grabbed. And he looks at Buffy and he's like, yo, this is the moment you should do something heroic. Buffy goes to the roof, and this is, I read something about who wrote this? DeKnight, Mr. DeKnight.
Stephen S. DeKnight.
Stephen S. DeKnight apparently turned his script into Joss, and Joss was like, you know, if we had like $5 million in 10 years, we could not make this happen. And Stephen S. DeKnight was like, just give me the Winnebago horse chase scene. This was like he held on to this bit, and they had to get rid of like all of the epic.
I wonder what fell away.
Right?
What had to be sheared?
I actually think that those details are out there for us, and I wish I had written them down in my notes, and I did not. But perhaps we can let you know at a later time. So Dawn is like bandaging up Spike's hands out from under the table, which is upsetting, and Anya. Thank God she brought her pan. And thank God she watched Looney Tunes. This is both Looney Tune and yeah.
She's so good.
So good. So are you gonna do you feel like that's worthy of a live jingle?
Cha-ching! She spent 1 millennium demonically vengeancing, speaks her mind and then some. You know she's partial to the finer things and down with double boyfriends. Oh yeah, exchanging cash for goods and also services. She'd love to hold the money for ya. She'll hold that cash, just keep the bunnies far from Anya.
Beautiful, Jenny. You're all saved from my attempt at harmonies and joining in because I know we're not in sync. If I knew we were in sync, you better believe I would have been singing. That was beautiful.
Oh,
also, truly, I think one of your best jingles, which makes sense because Anya is your A number one.
I put my heart and soul into it.
You're Anya number one. So yeah, Anya bang, bang, bangs the pan on the knight's head. And then Buffy throws a sword through the chest of a man. We talked about it for a moment. I don't even know what there is to say. The lines are blurry. These guys are definitely human. There are references in this episode to the fact that Spike can't fight them because they are human.
Yep.
And, you know, discuss amongst yourselves. But it is quite shocking that our character, I don't know if you remember her, but her name is Faith, killed a man. It was an entire accident.
And it was the end of the world.
And the council came in, and now she's in jail. I mean, I know there was more story to it than that, but still.
I wonder if because the Knights of Byzantium are like an ancient order, it kind of hell-bent on one goal. Like if there's any kind of like...
Right.
Because they're locked in an eternal struggle with the beast.
Totally. And I see some of you saying like he was an innocent, right, Alan? Like he didn't do anything. He wasn't doing anything to harm anyone, which debatable. He was working for the fucking mayor.
Aiding, abetting.
Yeah.
Trying to inform on, we think.
Alan did not deserve to die. And I just feel like if you're going to draw a very thick line in black marker, you just got to make a really, you know, at least make reference to the fact that you're crossing that line. Anyway, then Giles gets a spike into his stomach, which is like, you kind of think that it's over.
No.
And then this one horse comes up from the front and the spike goes through the windshield into Giles. And
it's like, it's a spear. It's a spear.
I'm so sorry.
Well, you were just calling it a spike, which I feel like could get confusing.
That's true. Okay.
That was a whole other sexual tension award.
A spear.
He gets a spear in the side. Buffy falls off the fucking roof, and the Winnebago crashes and flips.
Mm-hmm. And then later, somebody starts making
indeed.
meth in that Winnebago, you know, and there's a whole show about
No.
that.
That's a whole other Winnebago. Stay on task, Kristin.
Sorry. So we get to the Battle of Chevron, as I was saying, and true to form, like, we know that vampires, fire is bad for them. Yet we've seen many a vampire, from Angel to Dracula, just covering their mansions in open flames. The other thing that's really bad to have fire near is a fucking gas station. And yet, the fire. They weren't even using fire arrows on the Winnebago, but now they're like, we're at a gas station, so fire arrow it up.
Yeah, let's blow it up. Hey, they probably want to blow it up.
You think? Do you
They're
think
probably
that
hoping to hit some residual
gasoline? Spike is almost on fire. He's doing his best little match girl. That's
vamp.
What she's called.
Little match vamp.
Little match. Yep. And Giles is not okay. Giles is really not okay. This is maybe the worst we've seen Giles. Maybe it could hold a candle to the Drusilla torture. The angel torture, right?
Or the angel,
the angel torture, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty rough because of it's like there's a lot of scenes of him like his hands are shaking, and it just feels more dangerous, and that also might be because we know we've lost Joyce at this point, and so like perhaps when we were watching Giles struggle in seasons past, it didn't feel so real that he could go, and I think that this is true for Buffy too, and we'll get to this fucking scene in a little bit, but I think it just feels extra scary because now we know that like nothing is guaranteed. And could you possibly imagine if we lost Giles? Don't even.
No.
Don't even.
Get out of here with that shit. No.
So Willow's like flip through her book. She finds a spell. She puts up a wall. There's another. Guess who could afford another vending machine, everyone? It's not the cold drinks. It's coffee.
So the general who is inside the building with them when Willow puts the wall up immediately recognizes Dawn as the key, which makes me wonder further if there's anything, magical about the Knights of Byzantium. Like, why can he recognize her specifically? They just know that the key is human at this point.
Are you talking about?
He sees Dawn and is like, the key.
You talking about Gregor?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's been told that it's like a shiny little girl. He knows who Buffy is, right? So who else would? I guess it could...
What, you think Willow's not a shiny little girl? You think Anya and Tara aren't shiny little girls? They're slightly less little than Dawn age-wise, but they might be around all the same height.
I do not think that the Knights of Byzantium have any magic in them. I don't. I think that it was just.
Oh, good question. Does Tara out her in front of Gregor? Great question.
Oh, maybe, perhaps.
Okay.
Anyhow.
Regardless, don't worry. They've got some clerics. They put some clerics right on that wall, and they allege that a witch's magic pales to the might of their god, and the infidel's wall shall tumble before them. Spoiler alert, it does not.
Does not tumble.
Nice.
Christian God versus witchery. Witchery 1, Christian God 0 in this episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I also love later when Dante, we'll get to him killing Orlando in a moment, but like right after that, he like turns around to the clerics and he's like, I need the wall down now. And they both just turn around. They're like, dude, we fucking told you this.
We're clericing as hard as we can, man.
We're doing the best we can, man. Okay. So General Forehead, Gregor, right, is talking to Buffy now to give us some more of the backstory. But before we get to the backstory, we get this sort of like argument with religious zealot. Right? It's like kind of a cookie cutter for that argument. Like, if you say X, then how can you also say Y? If you say like, if you're saying like life matters, then why are you like fucking not giving a shit if kids who are coming across the border are dying, right? Like, where the fuck is your reason? I have very Catholic extended family members, so I have a lot of different examples of the way that this hypocrisy might play out. But this is kind of, I mean, it's a little different than that coming from Buffy, but she's sort of like, you're saying that you're doing this in service of a god. Like, what kind of god would have you kill an innocent girl? The logic doesn't add up. And, Gregor's like, LOL, you have not done your study on religious zealots. Logic need not apply to this. And for them, it is very clear cut. This thing will create total darkness. So no matter what form it is in, it goes. So there's no reason there. There's no reasoning there. Ooh, yes. I love this comment. Gregor is all Abraham and Isaac. So anyhow, they have this conversation. Buffy very immediately clocks that she's not going to be able to make any kind of argument with Gregor. And then Tara is having a breakdown in the front room, and she's saying time. We cut to the hospital again. We see that she is in line with the other patients there, and they're all like busting out of their restraints to sort of walk toward this darkness, this moment. It's a little bit unclear. Yeah, but they're all united. Great. Isn't it lovely to do a live show when you can be in leggings? Sorry, Jenny, I know you're in jeans. Just chilling.
Joke's on you. I took my pants off an hour ago.
Okay, so outside the gas station, this is where I'm also confused about this. I don't know why they brought Orlando to the battle, and I don't really understand why Dante kills. Do you understand why he kills Orlando? Like he doesn't. Does he not think they're going to win? And so it's like a mercy killing because he just wants it to he says the beast may have gotten your mind, but she will never know the taste of your heart. So does he think they're losing? Like, I don't understand.
It's weird, right? And also, like, if this was the plan, I don't know, like, why now? Yeah,
right?
I don't have any answers for you, Kristin.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because sometimes I like don't get things and other people do. But yeah, it's structured like a mercy killing, but it's unclear why this mercy would be being given now. It would have made a little bit more sense if it was like fucking Glory rolls up into the inside of the gas station and then Dante mercy kills Orlando. That would make a little bit more sense to me, but... Also, just like sidebar questions for me to like think about tonight as you're going to bed. What happens if the Knights do destroy the key? Do they retire? Are they done? Like, do they get to go on vacation? Are they going to like put their little horsies in the stable and get some like, mojitos or whatever? Yeah. Like, what happens then? Okay. So, oh God.
Okay.
Yeah.
Buckle up. Fucking buckle up. Buckle up. Giles is so proud of Buffy. And unrelatedly, there's something in my eye. And can you stand it? You're everything a watcher.
Pause.
Parenthetical. Father. Unspoken. Everything I could have hoped for. How fucking dare he, actually?
Everything I could have hoped for. Jenny, if you don't play Giles his motherfucking jingle, I quit.
Giles. Hot dad, when you were younger you were real bad. Now you're older, you've got glasses that help you watch over us. Thank you, Giles.
This is beautiful, and it like ties into what we were talking about before, where like, I mean, we know how Buffy feels about the prospect of losing Giles in any way, shape, or form. We've seen it before, but this has a weight that is unparalleled in any other scene between them because of the loss that she has just suffered, the loss that he has just suffered, and the fact that they've moved through it together. And also the fact that they're like fighting this thing that might not be able to be beaten together when they've only before been in battle with things that they could, either simply or not, but that they could in the end defeat. And it is just heart-wrenching. And Buffy says to Willow, open a door, because she's not going to fucking let anybody die at all. No more deaths. And so Willow busts open a door. There's another Sergeant Rock reference. They go and talk about the fact that war has rules, which is a very interesting thing to me. I don't have anything like brainy to say about it. I'm not very studied in the ways of war, but it is a very interesting concept. I'm sure that like somebody not me could talk more about it.
Well, we want to, while we're killing shit tons of each other, we just want to keep it civilized,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, is that like a way to make ourselves, the grand ourselves, like feel better about the atrocities that we're doing? Like if there's order to it, then it can't be that bad. Obviously this is not our area of study, but it is interesting to me. So Willow's like, I'm at a payphone. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. I think
Willow's magic can turn on a phone. Can turn on paging Dr. Ben. Paging Dr. Ben.
What makes a payphone run? Is there like a plug in the sidewalk that it plugged? Like, is there power? Is there power in a payphone?
Well, there's two things. There's light, right, that like turns on, indicating the photo booth is now powered. But I think that's just maybe there's an electrical component. We should definitely spend a lot of time on this.
We should spend a ton of time talking about how a payphone operates.
But she makes two things happen: a phone line, a working phone line, and electricity.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And Spike's into it. This is where he calls her a Swiss Army knife, and he's like, since you're so good at like fixing shit, there's this like door to my crypt. It's kind of squeaky, which is hilarious to me, and like imagining Spike just so annoyed by this fucking crypt door that's like as like other demons come in and out of it.
People are making great points. When your power goes out, your landline still works. If you
so it doesn't need
have
power.
a wired handset or a charge in your wireless.
Yeah. Okay, so fucking Buffy calls Ben from the payphone, and what we don't hear is what she says to Ben, but I would fucking love to hear it. Like, hey Ben, we're in a war, at a gas station. We need some gauze. Like, can you
bring your doctor bag to the abandoned Chevron, 40 miles east of Sunnydale?
Yeah.
Look for the overturned Winnebago, and you're almost there.
And he finds it. He rolls up in his little Ben car, his Ben mobile, and he immediately starts
in his drapey sweater,
patching up Giles and flirting with Buffy to Spike's chagrin. Is that a word that makes sense there? And they have this very nice moment where he's like, if it gets too weird, tell me. And he's like, you know what? I'm not leaving until I've worn out my welcome. A dude saying he will not leave, a thing that Buffy loves to see in season 5.
Oh, true.
Oh my God, are you ready for the erotic novel of season fucking 5, everyone?
Wait. Don't forget about Ben creepily staring at Dawn, wondering if he can do it. Oh, it's so intense. Okay, now please proceed with your erotic novel.
Okay, so it's a real short erotic novel. I'll set the scene, although I know it's already been set for you. Spike is like, oh no, I can't light my cigarette. Oh no, my hands hurt so much. And Xander comes out, he lights his cigarette for him.
This is the most popular thing that happens before two people have sex is one of them lights the other one's cigarette.
His cigarette for him. And he says, have I told you how much I don't like you? Are you ready for the erotic novel? It's a one-liner, folks. The erotic novel is, you might have let it slip in once or twice. What?
Why wouldn't you just say you might have let it slip once or twice? Why would you say slip in unless you meant the thing that you mean?
I died. I like fully paused, like 2 days ago when I was watching it, I like paused it. I took a photo of the television. I sent it to Jenny and I was like, oh my God. You might have let it slip in once or twice. These two are gonna, if they're going down, they're gonna do it before they go down. You know what I mean?
I suppose so. I'm
gonna cool down over here if you have anything else to say about this scene.
I they have this like exchange about like, oh, Spike's like, we should make a break for it, and Xander's like, oh, what are you gonna do, throw migraines at everybody? You can't fight anyone. And then Buffy's like, we're all gonna make it. I'm not losing anyone. Suddenly she has an eye patch and a big scar, and she's like spitting and smoking a cigar.
She has very season 3 prom energy. It's like the same energy, like when
true.
she's like, you're gonna have a prom. Yeah, like everybody's getting out of here alive. The general is like, dissension in the ranks. Like, shut up, dude. This dude should know that he's beat already, but he has some exposition to take care of. So we get confirmation about a few things. Glory is from a hell dimension with 2 other gods, a triumvirate of suffering and despair. And also, it's kind of fucked up what happened to Glory, because Glory, by this telling, Glory didn't do anything wrong. She just got more powerful. And the other 2 gods...
Wasn't Gregor saying that Glory got both stronger and like more evil, such to the point that her co-hell gods were like, okay, we're evil, but we're like not like that evil.
Yes, that's true.
This is out of control.
Yeah, but that's a little wiggly.
I don't know if I trust their standards.
But yeah, so they somehow there's 2 of them and 1 of her. So even though she's super powerful, they managed to kick her out. And then she gets this newborn baby body that she's in. And we learn that if you kill the man, the god dies. There's probably a lot in there.
If you kill the shiny girl, the key ceases to exist. There's a lot of people
a
that
lot
could
of
just
innocence.
get killed.
Yeah, a lot of it's innocent v innocent. Stay tuned for 21 and 22 of season 5.
Also, the key's power is absolute. It's almost as old as the beast itself.
Mm-hmm.
If Glory gets the key, the universe will tumble into chaos, all dark forever. That's what you were created for, Dawn.
Do you think that
what every teen girl hopes to hear?
Do you think that the never-ending story is what happens right after the key is activated? Like they finally did it,
totally,
and then it's like never-ending story.
Yep. Yeah, totally.
Okay, so yeah. Also, why couldn't they make a better key? Like, just make a simple key. You didn't need to make the skeleton key of all dimensions. Like, it's just very dramatic, you know. Make a key to your own house, you know,
your own dimension. Yeah.
But we've seen so much dimension travel in this show that I just find it hard to believe there's no other way for Glory to get back. She should talk to Angel. He's been to like 8 dimensions.
Oh yeah. He could give her directions.
Right?
I'm hoping that this new nickname makes it into Dawn's like senior yearbook, like Dawn Summers, destroyer of the universe, and then like a Maroon 5 quote, you know, and then her little paragraph.
Most likely to destroy the universe is her superlative.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so here's a big thing that I want to touch upon. After this, Dawn is upset, as you mentioned, Jenny, and she is like, I am evil. And Buffy says, it's not you. And she says, but it is in me. And we've talked a little bit about this in this series, in the season, really, of this like parallel between Dawn and Buffy, and that they are sisters and they are very different in like who they are and what they do, but that they do have this overlap of feeling like they are at once the person they know themselves to be, but that they contain this element of darkness that they have difficulty separating from their identity. And I think like one of the bigger questions of the whole universe of Buffy is, do we separate that or is it part of the whole? Buffy in this instance is saying we separate it. But I think that like that's the struggle. That's the big question. She promises that she won't let anything happen to Dawn. There's this really small moment, but I just want to call out this Anya moment because Tara and Willow are together and Willow is trying to feed Tara and Tara's not having it. And Anya, because it's a big deal for Anya, right? Anya, like we've been watching Anya like learn compassion and empathy and, you know, how to sort of relate to people in a way that she's never done before. And this little moment is such a product of what we've seen her learning. She comes over and she's like, I can help. I can help you if you need help. And it's just, Yeah, that noise you made, Jenny. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's messed up. The general is trying to encourage Ben to kill Dawn.
Which,
he's like, hey.
Decent move.
Hey, guy.
Yeah, hey, you.
You're not a part of this. Everyone's going to die, but you can prevent that if you just kill this one person. That would be cool. And Ben does this whole, like, weird syringe fake out, and he's all like, bad things happen to good people. Dawn, there's no reason for it. I'm just filling up the syringe and telling you this at the same time and looming behind you with the needle, and then no, I just put it in Giles. It's okay.
Right. It's a little
happens.
audience play, but for the most part, maybe we didn't know that Ben wasn't going to do it, but Ben very much identifies with Dawn because he has a very similar existence to Dawn, right? He didn't do anything wrong. He was just born, and it so happened that he was born for a hell god to occupy his body. She was, air quotes, born to possess the mystical qualities of a key that brings complete destruction to all of the universes. And then, wow, Dawn is like, it's all my fault. He's like, sometimes terrible things happen to good people. And then he's like, oh no. He feels the curls bouncing in his skull, about to pop through. And what happens, Jenny?
He's like, Ben is glory. Glory is Ben. Ben is glory, and glory is Ben. In case you forget, I'll say it again. Ben is glory, and glory is Ben.
Wow. The audience, they cheer. This is what I would like to call glory as lesbian in 1998 look. Like, this is fully what I wore as a not yet out to myself queer in 98. Like, getting my pants from like Abercrombie, like some baggy stuff, some sweaters from Salvation Army, trying to patch it together. She looks good. I'm really fucking, I know everybody loves Glory in a red dress. You know what Kristin likes? It's Glory in some of these dudes' clothes. That's what I'm into.
Yeah. Look like Rayanne Graff up at this piece.
Oh my God, Jenny, knock it out of the park. That's exactly what this is. This is very, very Rayanne Graff. Whew. I have my own private sexual tension award corner for this episode.
Yeah, you really do, huh?
I really do. Okay, so...
Dude.
Yes.
Then my favorite thing in the episode happens. This is my favorite moment.
Which one?
Glory's like, hey, it's Gregor, and then just kills him with a hubcap. I don't know why it's so satisfying.
It's really funny. It is really
funny. The delivery,
funny.
The timing, call back to the symbol in the bronze in,
Thank you.
In the harvest,
Right? Wasn't there also a symbol in Witch? Wasn't that the beheading by something? Somebody gets beheaded in Witch, I think. I feel like it's a lyric in your song.
Beheaded? Maybe you're thinking of
periodic
Teacher's
table
Pet.
of the elements.
Yeah, there's
Anyway, yes, it is akin to the symbol beheading. And then she punches up. Okay, so she gets Dawn, right? And if you wanna take the Rayanne Graff version of fucking Glory and make her any hotter, just have her take her fist and punch a hole through the fucking magic barrier that the two clerics are like still working on. Glory's like poof, poof, and just like punches a hole, walks through it with Dawn, and leaves. It's good. It's very good. And then Willow's black eyes return. She takes down the barrier because, of course, they need to go find Dawn. And this is
brutal.
It's really brutal. And like we were like alluding to moments like this one, I think a couple episodes ago, when we were like, we're really sliding down a hill in season 5. Here we go down the hill.
Buffy just crumples to the ground.
Yeah. Well, she sees, right, every single knight is dead. They've all died in like the wake of Glory. Like we don't even, right? Like it's just literally like she's just killed them all by like breathing on them or something. And the death and destruction is so overpowering, and not that Buffy has been holding the grieving at bay per se, but I think by nature of who she is and also where she is in this overarching battle of the series, it's too many things. And she just can't. And this is like, I don't know, the end of season 1, right, the song that you wrote, Jenny, that lyric is like one that is so resonant in our community, right? You just keep fighting. You get up and you just keep fighting. And that is such a cornerstone of this show. And I think that it's why this moment is just devastating, because you can see that she can't get up and she can't keep fighting. She's not okay. It's too many things for her. It's really sad and resonant and woof. Have anything to add to my woof?
Yeah, this just sucks. This is hard to see. But speaking of hard, it's time for this episode's Sexual Tension Awards. Come on! Yeah! Just a little levity, if you know what I mean, to add to the situation. Hell yeah. So, wow, here we are at the Sexual Tension Award nominees for this episode. There are 4 sets. You can vote for them. Here we go. In possibility number 1, she's the minion you just met, and he's the good doctor you know and love. It's Gronks and Ben. In the second possible zone, it's that same paging Dr. Ben. Please attend to Buffy's emotional wounds. It's Ben and Buffy. In the third slot,
so curious about how you're going to order these two, because I know who's winning.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in the third slot, the presumed winners, always letting it slip in. It's Xander and Spike. Come on, just give us this one.
Vote
just give it
3.
Let us
Vote
have this one
3.
thing. Vote 3.
3.
Vote 3. Okay, and then in the fourth position for possible consideration, it's Charlie Weber and the extreme face acting featured so heavily in this episode. He's really giving it everything he has and then 20% more. So those are our nominees.
They are.
Please consider them carefully and then vote for 3.
Vote for 3. Somebody in the chat. Thank you. Everybody in the chat is screaming 3. 3, 3, 3. It's unanimous.
Justice for Spander.
Spander. That's exactly what I was going to say. Somebody in the chat said Spander. We are here for Spander. Lighting each other's cigarettes, letting it slip in. Give it to the boys this time. You can follow us at BufferingCast on Twitter.
Give it to each other.
And cast your vote. Let's hear it for the boys. Precisely.
Sexual Attention Award.
Tight.
Well, Jenny, this was our first ever Zoom taping. How did it feel? How was it for you?
Didn't it go so great? Didn't you have so much fun?
Once we got it off the ground, once we got it running.
What? That's just bonus extra hangout time.
It's true.
And then
it's
plus
true.
episode.
I see you, person in the Bronx. I'm in Brooklyn. Do we have all 5 boroughs here? Do we have all 5 boroughs? We got Brooklyn and the Bronx. We got Queens, Manhattan. All we need is Staten Island. Is there one person from Staten Island? Come on. Yes!
Davidson is here. Yeah! Nice.
Beautiful. Well, this has been grand. Jenny, would you like to tell the listeners at home who you are, since they've not been able to gaze upon your beautiful porcelain face?
Fuck. Let me explain something to you people. I'm Jenny Owen Youngs. And when I'm not watching Buffy and making this podcast and writing the songs for this podcast and helping with the podcast, I'm usually writing and recording songs. You can learn more about those songs and my musical life over at jennyowenyoungs.com. You can hear me talk about another petite blonde protagonist over on my other podcast, Veronica Mars Investigations. And you can always give me a shout at Jenny Owen Youngs. What you think about that? Now you know how I feel.
Ooh, say you can handle my love. Is it for real? Is it for real?
Are you for real? Are you for real?
Just say Sam. Give you a try. Get your act together and we'll say, tell you what I want.
Have you watched Spice World lately? I know we're in the outro here and you have business to get to, but have you watched Spice World lately?
I have not watched it lately.
It's like post-film. It's like avant-garde. It's really, 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 really something. And it's currently like not available anywhere. I think maybe like the licensing lapsed. You can't stream it. You can't even buy it on iTunes. But it is like worth the venture into torrent, or maybe it'll come back into iTunes soon. It is so wild.
Okay, noted.
That's all.
I'm not opposed to rewatching Spice World. And I, by the way, am Kristin Russo. You can you can find out more about me on my website, which is Kristin Noeline. That is KRISTINNOELINE. I've almost forgotten how to spell it at this point. .com. You can also use that spelling to follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. And we are, who are we, Jenny?
We're Buffering the Vampire Slayer, of course, and I was genuinely stumped for a moment.
Who are we?
I was like, we just did this. You said you, and I said me. Buffering the Vampire Slayer is on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at BufferingCast. You can drop us an email at bufferingthevampireslayer@gmail.com or leave us a voicemail at area code 216-30-BUFFY.
Wow. I'm hoping that here's what I'd like to do. Here's what I would like to say. If you are watching from home and you happen to have your phone, it's not playing the Zoom, and you can grab a little voice memo for us, why don't you just get your little voice memos out, get them out. You can howl out from home and maybe send us your voice memo of your little howl out.
Record yourself wooing with us.
Yeah, so take a minute, everybody get set up. How's Frank doing with his woo training? How's it going?
He actually has started to, yeah. I don't know if it's actually something that I want to encourage at this point because it gets out of hand pretty quickly and turns into something else.
Series finale, season 7.
Something to train for, you know?
Right, sure. Okay, everyone, please hit record on your wooing recording devices. And Jenny, take us out.
Okay. Till frickin' next time. Yeah.
Wow. Well,
we did it.
No more mess around, getting out of town. I can't let you down. Ay, ay, ay. I don't really know, can't go toe to toe, so we gotta go. Ay, ay. I did my best, but it just keeps coming, keeps coming, keeps coming. I did my best, but now I'm running away. Ay, ay, ay. Hit my general, and now this god from hell is ringing my doorbell. Ay, ay, ay. It's so full of fear, and the nights are near, but no one's dying here. Ay, ay. I did my best, but it just keeps coming, keeps coming, keeps coming. I did my best, but now it's falling apart. watch it get inside. We were fortified, there's nowhere to hide. Ay, ay, ay. Pulled me right apart when she took my heart. Flew off in the dark. Ay, ay. I did my best, but it just keeps coming. Keeps coming, keeps coming. I did my best, but now I'm going away. Ay, ay, ay. I did my best, but it just keeps coming. Keeps coming, keeps coming. I did my best, but now I'm going away. Ay, ay, ay.
Welcome to the small town of Chinook, where faith runs deep and secrets run deeper. In this new thriller, religion and crime collide when a gruesome murder rocks the isolated Montana community. Everyone is quick to point their fingers at a drug-addicted teenager, but local deputy Ruth Vogel isn't convinced. She suspects connections to a powerful religious group. Enter federal agent V.B. Lauro, who has been investigating a local church for possible criminal activity. The pair form an unlikely partnership to catch the killer, unearthing secrets that leave Ruth torn between her duty to the law, her religious convictions, and her very own family. But something more sinister than murder is afoot, and someone is watching Ruth. Chinook, starring Kelly Marie Tran and Sanaa Lathan. Listen to Chinook wherever you get your podcasts.
Contained herein are the heresies of Redolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Redolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.